can't say.
What's that word you use?
Spoilers.
I like that word.
Hello and welcome to Spoiler Nation, the podcast where we dive deep into your favorite and sometimes not so favorite movies and TV shows. My name is Howie and I'm the senior editor at isolatednation.com. And joining me as always, my partner in crime,
co-pilot for life.
Reese.
Yeah.
I forgot your name for a hot minute.
Well, it's been a while.
It is. I haven't seen you since the last time we did the podcast.
We haven't talked 'cause it's solo.
Yeah, we exclusively only hang out to record this podcast.
That's not true.
I prefer to not see you. So listeners, what you don't know is as soon as we stop recording, I just look away and walk away from the mic.
Yeah, it's a good thing that we do this just, through podcast instead of a video, so you can't see our mutual loathing.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I mean, we'll get there one day though. Holy crap though, we got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, so just because, it's been a while. I think it's been 2 months.
Easily-ish. Yeah.
I hope you all noticed the crisp audio quality that we have now.
How we went through hell to get this.
Yeah. Shout out to George who helped me out.
Yeah,
with the audio.
Thanks for getting us into HD, the audio equivalent of HD.
Yeah, now you have the facade of the illusion of quality.
It's like a smooth cup of coffee for your ears.
Yeah. How we're going to approach this episode is it's going to be a welcome back catch-up episode. Let's call it that.
We're going to be all over the place.
We'll talk about some movie news that's been happening. We'll talk about the movies and TV shows that we've seen in the past and, what we liked and what we did not like. I suppose we are going to be mostly spoiler-free.
For what?
For everything, I guess.
Oh yeah. Well, one of them is based off a real story, so I don't know how spoiler free we can be on that.
Obviously, you're talking about Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yes, that is based off a real story.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Tom Cruise literally nearly killed himself making this. So
yeah, so that is
partially real.
I suppose.
Yeah,
it's good to be back.
It feels like riding a bike.
Let's start off with some movie news. Obviously, the big movie news that is dominating the conversation right now, which is James Gunn.
Oh man, this stinks like a dumpster fire. This story just won't go away. I think most for anyone who's not familiar, why would you not be? But
yeah,
some old tweets of James Gunn got dug up from 10 years ago, I believe.
Yes,
and there were all these rape and pedophilia jokes because at that time of his career, he was working for Troma, which is a film company that did all these crude and exploitation type movies.
Yeah, that's right.
So you could argue it was part of his job to do that kind of thing. Part of
his brand.
It was his
to be
brand.
Edgy.
Yeah.
I mean, horrible jokes.
Very, very poor taste.
I would have to say unfunny.
They are unfunny. That's the biggest thing I thought about them. I was wow, he lost his career over tweets that weren't, not his career, but he lost the Guardians of the Galaxy over tweets that weren't even funny.
Yeah.
But they got dug up, and before there was even any talk from the press or anything like that, he was go by Disney days later, and everyone's just wait, what the fuck? I can't. It's it happened overnight, seemingly.
Yeah, there was no deliberation from Disney.
No,
no or ahhing. They were just yep, that's it, goodbye.
I mean, James Gunn went from being the golden child of the Marvel cosmic universe, because he was going to, map this out for the foreseeable future beyond Guardians 3. So he went from that to being, a gangrenous arm they had to cut off.
Yeah, because, Guardians of the Galaxy, one of the biggest successes for, I suppose, Marvel Studios and Disney as a whole, having to adapt a very... not unpopular.
Well, obscure.
Obscure, that's right. Obscure property, and just turning it into, one of the biggest franchises today.
I think it's fair to say that if that failed, that Infinity War would be very different and likely the poorer for it.
Yeah.
That $2 billion movie they just made. But he had just finished his third draft, because I don't follow him, but I looked him up on Instagram. And he had just finished his first draft for the third movie. Mm-hmm. And then literally, not even a week later, the tweets got dug up and he got fired. So the latest news on that was like everyone was thinking, well, is this like a ploy? Like, is he going to be rehired? Is there going to be like a period of heat and then it dies down and then he quietly gets rehired and goes on the apology tour? I was hearing talk about that, like some people thinking that, and I thought that's not, unlikely.
Yeah.
Not likely. It's in that weird nebulous region. But then there was supposedly, Variety reported there was like a meeting between the head of Disney, Alan Horn, and like James Gunn's reps. And it was just official, like James Gunn is like not coming back.
They're putting their foot down.
Their foot is put down. Mouse's fucking paw has just been laid on the table. Really
no redemption for James Gunn.
It's interesting. It's like it's not Marvel that let James Gunn go. It's Disney.
Yeah,
because Disney owns Marvel.
And also, you know what? Regardless of whether or not you think that Disney was right to let him go, I think Disney's. I completely understand why he has been let go, and I in many ways, Disney's hands are tied here because, when you think about the nature of the jokes, it's pedophilia related, right? A lot of them.
Yeah.
And Disney is a family. It caters to, children and family. And that's just completely opposed to their brand.
Yeah.
And their values.
Yeah.
So, whether or not, of course, he made the joke like a long time ago. If they did their due diligence and if something like this was actually important to them, they would have done their research and not hire him in the first place.
I think that just demonstrates now the power of Twitter. It's not what it was 10 years ago when barely anyone was using it really.
Yeah, wasn't it like immediately after this happened, Rian Johnson, director of the controversial indie film The Last Jedi, deleted thousands of his tweets, right?
It makes me think like, what did Rian Johnson, the nicest guy in Hollywood seemingly, have to delete?
Well, apparently he made
was he an edgelord?
Jokes. Yeah, he seemed like an edgelord guy.
Interesting. It's smart to do
right,
that.
Yeah,
though.
He made the right call.
Yeah, for sure.
And I can see why he did it, but now the accusations thrown at him is, oh, what do you have to hide? And his response is to the effect of anything can be taken out of context and turned into accusations, which that's the world we live in right now, I guess, for better or for worse.
Yeah, that was done with Patton Oswalt as well, like after the James Gunn thing happened. And it was literally like a tweet from a thread taken out of context. Mm-hmm. And, but that didn't go anywhere, obviously, because I think people in general, like, know, they're like savvy if something's taken out of context.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, this is like really shitty and sad all around. I think it's such a waste. Like it just feels like they've created this huge dumpster fire for themselves. Like the stink of the movie is so huge now because it's like, who's gonna have the thankless job of directing this? Like, who'd want to go near this now? Well,
yeah, that's true.
And Dave Bautista's like, he's more vocal. They've all been very vocal in like their displeasure, but they
want him back essentially.
He's been the most vocal. He essentially said like a couple of weeks ago, if they don't use James Gunn's script for this movie, then I'm going to be asked to have my contract severed.
Right.
He's because he owes his career to James Gunn because he was like floundering with sort of direct-to-DVD movies that weren't going anywhere.
Yeah. Post
WWE, and James Gunn took a big chance on him for him being Drax, and it paid off big time because like Drax is probably one of the most popular characters in the whole franchise.
Yeah.
So he has like big loyalty towards James Gunn, which is understandable, but it just feels like a giant shit show that's like snowballing more and more. Yeah. And I don't know how it's going to be resolved. I'm not sure either, but I am, on a, let's say, business perspective, or I suppose like storytelling perspective, I'm ready for a different director to direct the next Guardians movie. Are you curious at the very least?
Yeah, I want a different director. I think he's told the story that he needs to tell. With the first two movies, that it veers very close to repetition at this point, just on a storytelling standpoint.
Right.
That I think I'm happy if a different director directed.
Yeah, I partially agree. I feel like this third movie he was making was going to be the completion of something, because he'd been quite explicit in saying that, like, I'm not coming back after the third one.
I see. Yeah.
You know, whatever else happens, I'm not going to be there. So I really wanted just to see what would his ending look like. You know, what would he do to end it? And now I don't know what really that'll look like, because I imagine it won't be what he was going to do.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting because just to see where this goes, because we have a beloved franchise butting heads with the current political, social climate. But it's in this weird area where, you know, there wasn't a victim from these jokes.
No, there wasn't.
So
it's all about optics.
Exactly. And it's not as clear cut as, you know, all the Me Too stuff, just because there isn't a victim.
There was no, like...
So it doesn't seem, at least on paper, as serious as, you know, actual sexual abuse and sexual harassment.
Yeah. No.
So it's in this kind of gray area where I don't know where it's going to go.
And I feel like these he'd apologized for these kinds of tweets like in 2012.
Right.
Which makes me think that's about when he'd be meeting with Disney. So like, as part of getting the job, maybe what he'd have to do is be like, I'm not that guy anymore. Like, I'm improving and stuff, as part of getting the first Guardians of the Galaxy gig. So it's just purely like I think Disney knew about the tweets, but now they're sensing it could be a problem for them. Then
I mean, of course,
that's it.
Yeah, that's the nature of
it's pure business decision. Yeah,
and I think he's not coming back. Like,
no way.
I think there's zero chance he's going to come back. So it's either now. I guess the question is, how will Guardians of the Galaxy move forward? Will they be using his story?
Yeah, because he just had a first draft, and I don't know, because like it's a first draft, right? Like these scripts usually go through like 5 drafts before they get to the stage where they're even shooting it. So are they just going to use the bones of his script for this story?
We'll see.
Because that means he still gets a credit, like in the movie, technically, like story by James Gunn. Are they going to do that? Because they fired him. Do they want to make it a clean cut or like a not very clean cut? I don't know. It's interesting at the very least.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes.
It'll be interesting to see how fans will react to someone else taking the helm as well.
Yeah, because I feel like whatever you think of Volume 2, I know some people didn't like it. I really liked it. But those 2 movies have like more of a sense, they have a sense of authorship, like more than most of the other Marvel movies.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah.
Speaking of Rian Johnson, I was going to make that segue, but well, it works still. Speaking of Disney and Rian Johnson.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about another gigantic Disney franchise, Star Wars.
Oh, this just shouldn't be controversial. We're going from...
What do you got for us, Reese?
Well, Episode 9 has literally just started filming, and they've confirmed that Mark Hamill is coming back, which is pretty exciting.
Interesting.
But given his, he dies in The Last Jedi, and you think, he could come back as a Force ghost, but...
I wonder if J.J. Abrams is just going to retcon everything from
his death.
The Last Jedi.
The interesting thing is that J.J. Abrams sort of set this whole story up in motion for Luke Skywalker, and Rian Johnson was given the baton with like Luke on an island while like 5 planets are blowing up. So he's like, what do I do with that? Yeah.
It's interesting because J.J. Abrams doesn't seem like he's against The Last Jedi.
No.
So, if he saw obviously he saw the script before it was even filmed, and he didn't express his objections.
No.
And that makes me think it might not be, destroying his original vision for the trilogy that much.
I feel like he didn't have much of a vision.
Yeah. A la Lost.
Yeah.
Where he just kicks it off and then he's like,
leaves it to other people.
Yeah.
Because even The Force Awakens, when Rey has that vision with all the Knights of Ren and Kylo Ren, like in the context of that film itself, it's fucking meaningless. Like it could just be like a tease for future movies. It could have been literally anything. I feel like that's why I was so excited for The Last Jedi, because I was like, where the fuck are they going to go?
Yeah.
They could go anywhere. Like there's not a clear outline, it feels like. And even less so for like Episode 9, because, it's not going to be set just after The Last Jedi like The Force Awakens was, I assume. I assume you'll be picking up years later.
So they've begun production?
Yeah, like actually filming it. And I'm excited to see Mark Hamill back in the role and to see what exactly they'll do with him. There's like rumors they want to get Hayden Christensen back as well.
That's interesting. And also they are using previously unused Force Awakens footage of Leia
Carrie
in this
Fisher.
movie.
Yeah, because do you remember the first Force Awakens trailer where there's like a shot of Leia receiving like Luke's lightsaber from a little hand?
No, I do not.
I remember that in the trailer, not being in the movie, and I'm like, how much is like Leia's footage left on the floor? They might have enough, to include her in some way. I assumed it was a foregone conclusion she would be dead, like at the start of the movie.
Yeah,
and that would kick off the movie, but I guess she's still gonna be in there in unused footage. That just seems very complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not jarring, but I'm sure J.J. Abrams knows what he's doing.
I feel like this is like not a safe option to do this. So they must be pretty confident in what they've got planned for her. But they're also saying this is like the last Skywalker movie, like for the foreseeable future. So episode 10, 11, and like, assuming they'll do those, they won't be focusing on any Skywalker members. So J.J. Abrams is not just ending this trilogy, he's ending
the
Skywalker saga, which has been going on since, the 70s. So no pressure.
Heavy stuff.
I mean, he had to kick off this whole thing. That's a huge amount of pressure. Now he's got to end everything.
Yeah.
It's got to be driving him crazy.
Okay, what's the last piece of Disney news you've got for us?
Oh, yeah. You know how all that talk about how they were going to buy Fox last year?
Yes.
Well,
has that happened?
It's official. The ink is being put on the paper. And
no takes backsies.
There's no takes.
Fox.
I mean, it won't be official, I guess, till about mid next year or early next year, but it's being done already.
Is Fox Searchlight part of Fox? I mean, I assume so. And that's kind of, I would say, their quote unquote indie department, or that's where the Oscar bait movies are.
Yeah, that's one of the concerns about this
I'm
deal,
worried
is whether they're going to axe that or not.
As with how other mergers, or I don't know what this is called,
mergers and acquisitions.
Yeah, so this sounds more like an acquisition than a merger.
Yes, so getting everything.
Yeah, and sometimes they just leave it alone.
Yeah.
If it ain't broke, why fix it? That kind of situation. I
think it's going to be a similar situation as to when Disney owned the Weinstein Company.
Oh,
so technically Pulp Fiction's a Disney film.
Right.
So I think it'll be one of those situations where they'll just leave it alone and let them do their thing.
I hope so.
I think it includes everything.
So they're buying the network of Fox.
And I assume it could be part of their Disney streaming service they're doing.
I see.
Disney.
We're going to see like the Disney Netflix.
Yes, that's definitely coming.
And that's a bummer because a lot of Disney properties are on Netflix right now. So once that comes out, they're gonna take it.
Yeah. I mean, Netflix produces a lot of their stuff.
Yeah.
They need to step up. But that's, I mean, the buying of sort of the Fox and Disney merger, there's like heaps of worries. There'd be like huge loss of jobs as well. I think they estimated it would be like a loss of 150,000 or something like that. That's nuts. Which is fucking sad.
Yeah. Well, at least we'll get to see more crossovers.
yeah, that would definitely be happening. You could get Alien in an Avengers movie, technically, at that point.
Well, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, so that's our Disney news, I think.
Yeah.
Quota fulfilled.
Let's dive into movies that we've seen recently. So we're going to talk about 3 movies that has come out and will come out.
Mm-hmm.
Should we start with
Blackkklansman?
Hello, this is Ron Stallworth calling. Well, who am I speaking with?
This is David Duke.
Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. That David Duke?
God, last time I checked. What can I do for?
Well, since you asked, I hate blacks. I hate Jews, Mexicans and Irish, Italians and Chinese. But my mouth to God's ears, I really hate those black rats. And anyone else, really, that doesn't have pure white Aryan blood running through their veins.
I'm happy to be talking to a true white American.
God bless white America. The KKK is planning an attack.
How do you propose to make this investigation?
We'll establish contact over the phone. We'll need a white officer to play me when they meet face to face.
You for the white race, Ron?
Oh, hell yeah.
So there becomes a combined Ron Stallworth.
Can you do that?
With the right white man, we can do anything.
A Spike Lee joint.
Yes, the new Spike Lee flick, who's for me at least, he's a very sort of hit and miss director.
He is. This is a hit.
This is a big hit, and then his movie Do the Right Thing is like one of my favorite top 3 movies ever. I
Really
could,
good.
I could watch that every day. It's so entertaining, and this is sort of in a similar vein where it's like it's about racial tensions in this, but it's in a different setting, obviously, and it's based on a real story, which you can kind of forget as you're watching it because it's so wacky. Like, you can't believe the people you're watching and like these scenarios and everything. But you're reminded that it is real in its like last 5 minutes, where he connects the story to what's going on like right now in America.
Yeah.
And I'm usually not like a big fan of when movies do that. Like, I find it like, just for me, it's pretty cheesy. It's very on the nose. But for this, like, the effect was, you could hear a pin drop in the movie theater.
I think we should, for the rest of the episode, let's go spoiler free and just giving our, overview thoughts on them instead of diving deep into. We'll save the spoilers for the next episode, maybe.
Yeah.
It has that, signature Spike Lee social justice bent to it. Maybe it's because I agree with the political views that's presented in the movie, but it doesn't come across as preachy.
No, not at all. It's because
it's poignant.
Yeah, and he develops all of the characters really well.
Yeah,
even the more despicable ones.
Yeah,
and it's Topher Grace who I think kind of steals the movie.
MVP of the movie
as David Duke.
The Grand Wizard himself
of the KKK.
I suppose we should talk about the premise of the movie. It's about a black cop who infiltrates the KKK via phone. Yeah, but then they like him and asks to meet him. And then in person, and obviously he's black. Yeah. So he asks Adam Driver's character to pretend to be him,
who is a Jew. But the difference is that he doesn't have to really live with his Jewishness like a black person has to live with their blackness. Yeah. So he goes on his own journey as he confronts like these kinds of people.
Yeah, I think at its core, it's also a really good buddy cop.
Absolutely.
Movie?
Yeah.
I love buddy cop storylines. So
underdone genre.
I think so.
Yeah. But when it's done well, it's the best.
Yeah. It's really fun. It's a fun movie that has important things to talk about, but it uses comedy to convey that message.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I want to kind of see it again just to take it all in again, because it is like a big, substantial movie as well. Yeah. And the main guy, I just sort of found this out, is like Denzel Washington's son.
No way.
No, that's true. Yeah, John Washington, something like that.
Wow.
I thought it was
he was good.
He was really great. I thought
good leading man.
I thought he was the guy from that TV show Love, who's like one of the friends on the set of Wichita. There's this character.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's him with a beard, but no, it's Denzel Washington's fucking son. And I was like, oh, okay, how about that? Denzel Washington, who was in Malcolm X,
That's right.
Another great Spike Lee movie. In the Family. I thought that was really cute.
It is.
I really like that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And Adam Driver continues to be like just one of my favorite performers to watch.
One of the best character actors today, I think.
I feel like in his performances, he goes to places that most actors don't go to. Yeah. He really like toes the edge of fucking strange.
This is actually one of his most straightforward characters as well.
The weirdest thing, paradoxically, is that you completely buy him as this regular dude. Yeah. Which is more or less who he plays in the movie. Because, he never plays like a straightforward guy, because he's kind of like, he's got this odd energy about him.
Yeah.
But,
Watching this movie, there's this kind of underlying glee. The whole time you're watching it, that kind of reminds me of something like, I don't know, Martin McDonagh.
Yes.
That kind of
but way more sort of
tone.
Focused.
It's definitely a better Three Billboards.
Yeah, that's very true.
I feel like this movie was what Three Billboards thinks it is.
Yeah. And I like Three Billboards, but I
find it okay, but I thought it was really, really overrated.
That's
especially when there's a much more superior Martin McDonagh movie that came out that I guess went under the radar.
The Seven Psychopaths one.
No, In Bruges.
Oh yeah, no, that's pretty well loved.
Right.
It's not
as in, well, it's not recognized.
It didn't get the 3 billboards
Yeah.
love. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
yeah, I really liked this, and all the performances were great. And the thing, I saw some line somewhere where someone said it's like a comedy film, but the film is no joke, which I think describes the tone of it very well. Because the tension is always present, even like during the zany moments.
Yeah, I agree. Check out Reese's detailed written review on isolatednation.com.
Yeah, bitch, look that up. Give it a read. Give it a thumbs up.
Okay, let's just go and Ebert this.
We'll go work on that.
Okay, so let's move on to a different kind of movie and laud it in a different way, which is Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible Fallout.
How many times has Hunt's government betrayed him, disavowed him, cast him aside? How long before a man like that has had enough?
Now, Howie, what do you think of the Mission Impossible films in general?
So if I were to give it an emoji, it would be a shrug emoji.
I know what you mean.
It's action. It's fun action. It's all right. I like Tom Cruise, but I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fanatic, so it's not like I'll see anything with Tom Cruise in it.
I miss his like weird phase when he was doing like those Cameron Crowe movies.
Yeah.
He's great in those. But this, he's like standard action hero. And I pretty much agree with you on the Mission Impossible series. Like, I think I'm always blown away by the technical craft on display, but it's really like a standard template. I don't remember the plots of these fucking movies. I don't remember the plot of this movie, if I'm going to be honest with you. Though I do remember, the action scenes, and I do remember.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing you got to take away from this.
Yeah. Speaking of which, J.J. Abrams directed one.
He did the third one, I believe.
Yeah.
With Philip Seymour Hoffman. But this one is Christopher McQuarrie, obviously. First guy to direct 2 of these movies. And this one is the first Mission Impossible that feels like it's really tying up threads from the other movies.
Right, yeah.
And I wasn't a big fan of that because I don't, like I said, I don't think the character and the story are the selling points of these movies.
No.
So it's like when they're tying these things up, I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I guess you got to do it if you're doing the 5th one at this point. But before I saw the movie, there was like a lot of talk about Henry Cavill in the movie,
Yeah, infamous mustache.
The mustache thing.
Kerfuffle with Justice League.
Yeah, there was that big deal. But also just talk of his like performance and how great he is.
I see. Like his physical...
And
his physicality in the movie.
His physicality in the film is astonishing, but motherfucker can't act his way out of a paper bag.
You think so? I like... So Henry Cavill is the, I would say, the antagonist to Tom Cruise in this movie. And this is my favorite role of his yet. I think he works well as the foil to the straight man instead of being the straight man character.
I found him just very like stiff and unmemorable in the movie. I don't know what it was. It didn't click for me. But he's not act his way out of a paper bag. I'm using hyperbole, like it's for dramatic effect. He's not like terrible. Because I got this same sort of wooden feeling I got from when he was like Superman. I was like, it's not just limited to Superman. It's just him.
That's interesting.
I'm just not like a fan of.
I find that he's having more fun in this movie than he is in the Justice League stuff.
Oh, well, why wouldn't you? He's definitely got screen presence, if nothing else, because he's an Adonis and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he's when he punches someone, he can sell the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Like he's got that bathroom scene where they're like taking out a guy in the bathroom.
Yes.
Favorite action scene in the film, I think.
Yeah. The most played trailer scene
where he reloads his arms, and that was a bit of improv by him apparently.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Why can't I like you more? That's I wish I did. Especially the thing I like about this movie the most in regard to the action scenes is that they don't feel the same.
They don't, yes. The car chases in this movie, I thought I'm over car chases, but then this movie came along and it's like I'm at least not bored by car chases.
Yeah, absolutely. And the helicopter one-on-one sort of battle at the end. With Tom Cruise just dangling, miles and miles in the air.
Not a spoiler, I guess, because it's in the trailer, I think.
The trailer gives away like
everything.
Action scene. Yeah.
There is a hilarious twist in this movie. It's the execution of the twist that's like I laughed out loud, and I'm not sure if it's meant to be funny.
I think I know what you mean. Is this twist in like the last?
Yeah, it has to do with Henry Cavill and just the team, and like it's very shenanigans with a capital S.
Yeah,
the twist.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. It's almost that so bad it's good. It kind of recognizes that it's silly, but not really. It's like toes between that line.
It's got an odd feel because the whole movie has like the feel of a Christopher Nolan action movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially with that Hans Zimmer-esque score.
Yeah.
And like doing everything in camera.
It feels a bit like, like discount Inception kind of. Just the way like the team comes together and like they have to execute a mission.
Yeah.
It's basically like a spy thriller template with better action sequences.
Yeah, and if you're there for those, it's certainly like worth your money and everything. I think it's worth it on that level. But that's all I've got to say about it, really.
I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
There were comparisons. Okay, this is what I don't get, which is there's a lot of hype for this movie.
There was heaps, dude.
Everyone's going crazy about the action, and it's good action. It's good.
Yeah,
it's one of the better action movies I've seen. But there was a lot of comparison with Mad Max Fury Road that I was just like, when I first heard about it, I was like, whoa, it's that good? I went to see it just by that hype alone, and it does not touch Mad Max Fury Road, even in like artistic intent.
The only way I can see that comparison is that they did the same amount of dangerous stunts that Mad Max, but Mad Max Fury Road just radiates creativity and like passion.
Yeah.
And this feels like, just a very well done sort of standard spy movie you've seen a lot of times. It doesn't have that. I don't agree with that.
Mad Max is art.
Yeah.
Whereas Mission Impossible is a very good product.
Yeah.
It's a very
Made
well-made
by, like,
product.
Top tier professionals.
Yeah.
But in the end, it does leave you feeling like cold because you don't remember anything outside of the action scenes.
Yeah.
So it's a good thrill ride, I guess.
It's all right. Watch it if you like action. If you like these Mission Impossible movies, which for me are, you love this one. It's it's definitely one of the better ones. I didn't like Rogue Nation that much, to be honest. I didn't watch anything beyond this third one. How many are there? Like 7, right?
No, this is the 5th one.
Oh,
wait, no,
okay.
this is the 6th one. Yes, this is the 6th one. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
There's going to be 7.
Well, you know what? It's no Fast and Furious, that's for sure. Where's The Rock? Bring him in here.
Well, for one thing, Tom Cruise is like 80 years old now. Like, how many more of these?
Is he actually 80 years old?
He's literally 80 years old. How many more of these can they do? He broke his ankle on this one. Remember?
That's true.
Like,
but
yeah.
I don't know. Stunts are hard.
Yeah, and he's an old man. And he's like, I'm like thinking, how can they keep letting him do this? Is he actually going to die in one of these movies?
I mean, whatever, sure. I'll watch the next one, I guess. Okay, let's talk about a movie that I haven't seen, so I won't have much to say about it, but a movie that you have.
Christopher Robin.
What should happen if you forget about me?
Silly old bear. I won't ever forget about you, Pooh. I promise. Not even when I'm 100.
We should be working this weekend, Robin.
But I promised my wife and daughter I'd take them away this weekend.
All hands on deck.
You won't be coming to the cottage.
Well, it can't be helped.
Your life is happening now, right in front of you.
What to do, what to do, what to do. What to do indeed.
Who?
Christopher Robin.
No.
Is it a kids movie or is it a family movie?
I would definitely call this a family movie, I think.
So this stars, this is like the live action adaptation of, is it an adaptation? I guess it is, of Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it's all those characters.
And
their buddy Christopher Robin.
All grown up, played by
Yeah, he's Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
He's a man with responsibilities, and he has some traumas.
Yeah.
And this kind of coincides with Winnie the Pooh coming back to him during a stressful point in his adult life and being like, I've lost all my friends.
I have to say, Pooh looks great.
These, like Howie,
they look amazing.
That is like probably my favorite aspect of the film is the design of the 100 Acre Wood animals. Right. I don't have any sort of nostalgic attachment to these characters because I didn't really grow up with this, but the way they design them as like threadbare stuffed animals, you have that attachment. Like just watching them in action, like you just feel it already.
I think what helps is that they use the same voice actor.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about the others, but especially for Pooh.
Yes, I mean that's why it's hard. The needle, I can't really have a straight needle on this film because him voicing that fucking bear is like some kind of form of emotional terrorism. So basically, every time he's on screen doing stuff, you're just like bawling your eyes out.
Yeah, just seeing the trailer, just hearing him speak. Yeah, you're just like, oh my god.
And there are definitely some back and forth exchanges between adult Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh that's like designed to like squeeze your insides.
I see.
There's particularly one that stands out to me. I'll mention it here. It's just one. So Winnie and Christopher Robin are in the woods and they're talking about their lives, I guess. And Christopher Robin has had to fire like a bunch of people, and the way Christopher Robin says to him is like, "Oh, I have to let these people go," and he seems impatient with Winnie the Pooh at this point, like he's not really talking to him. And Winnie the Pooh just like innocently asks, "Did you let us go?"
Oh my god!
There are lines like that in this movie.
I want to watch it.
Yes, I highly recommend it. I kind of get the sort of mixed reaction to it because, like Mission Impossible, like the story for this is like very much templatey. Like
I see.
You know where the steps are going. You know what the story's going to be. There are no surprises, but I don't really think it. When you're watching one of these things, you're not really caring for a surprise or not.
Right. Yeah. Is it a tearjerker?
Yes, it's like designed to be like a weepy, I would say.
I'm down for that.
Yeah. So
I'm down for a good cry.
There are some sort of cathartic moments like that there.
Proof that I'm human.
This film definitely has that. This is directed by Mark Foster, who did Monsters Ball and Quantum of Solace. I've seen those two films. Yeah, Mark Foster. And I was like,
interesting evolution.
It is. I mean, that sort of bleak feeling occasionally hangs over this film in a very good way. So it begins with like a little picnic and like Christopher Robin's last day with the animals. And Christopher Robin and Winnie are hanging out. And before Christopher Robin goes, and Winnie says the best part of my day is like when me and Piglet are waiting for you by the tree. So there's a little montage of like Christopher like growing up, and his dad dies, like tragic normal stuff sort of happens to him. It's like a montage, and interspersed in that montage is like Winnie and Piglet waiting by the tree being covered in snow, but Christopher's not coming through.
Oh, so it's like, I'm crying right now.
That's like the first like 5 minutes of the movie. But I mean, that's the first half is brilliant in that way. The second half is it's almost sort of like a different movie. It becomes like a wacky hijinks thing in the city.
Right, you could tell that you could tell that from the trailer.
It's structured like the trailer.
Yeah, so it's like the beginning is him being reacclimated with his friends, Pooh and Co.
Yeah,
and then the second part of the trailer is like them going back into the big city and going up to shenanigans.
Yeah, helping adult Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
So it's the standard story of like a sad old middle-aged man rediscovering the child within. It sounds cliche, but to me what's important is execution. I don't really care if the idea is cliched or not because everything's been done. And the execution of this was like very heartfelt. It was very sincere. Obviously it's exploitative. It's a Disney property, but when it's done poorly, in my mind, you get something like Beauty and the Beast, which you feel nothing when you watch that.
Yeah.
It's garbage. But you watch this and it's manipulative, but films are manipulative, and this worked on me. So
manipulative in the best way.
In the best way. I really recommend this one.
How many honey jars do you give it?
I give it 4 out of 5 honey jars.
Oh.
It's a bit generous, but I think it's deserved it. I was really emotionally engaged throughout the thing, and it's only like, it's at a crisp 100 minutes, doesn't overdo it, gets in, gets out, very effective. The voice work is on another level, obviously. So is the design and the cinematography. Ewan McGregor does a good job acting against literally nothing. You never for a second believe he's not talking to them.
Yeah.
So it's very well done. I highly recommend it.
All right. Watch Christopher Robin.
Yeah, go see that before Mission Impossible. Even if you're an action junkie, go feel something.
Yeah.
You know.
So we'll be talking about 3 Netflix TV shows for our TV segment of this episode. The first one being Luke Cage Season 2.
Yes.
Damn. Hate to see such a positive brother like Luke Cage go down like that.
He hurts you. You're not invulnerable, Luke.
Anyone who can take you on barehanded can't be good for Harlem.
I gotta find him.
A return to form or not? I don't know.
No. We haven't finished the season since it came out, which is a indication of the quality of season 2.
Yeah, I'm struggling through this one.
We're 11 episodes in.
Yes, at least.
So I think we have like a couple of episodes left. So,
I mean, good Lord, is this thing going to a climax or not? That's one of my main problems with this.
Yeah, and this is not just a Luke Cage problem. It's a Marvel Netflix show problem. As we've talked about many times before, it happened with the Defenders. It happened with even Jessica Jones,
Season 2,
Daredevil. Less with Daredevil, but still, there's just a lot of fat they can, like, I'm begging them to just cut.
Well, the thing is that right now, I mean, I promise this has to do with Luke Cage Season 2.
Okay.
I've introduced my friend to Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, here we go.
And that is a masterclass show of episodic storytelling. Mm-hmm. Which is to say that the episodes are structured so there's like a problem they deal with the problem, but there are little problems that are the main arc of the season.
Yeah.
This just feels like taffy being stretched. So you can watch whole episodes in a row and it feels like they're in circles or they're having the same conversations or nothing is being accomplished. Mm-hmm. And then in the last 5 minutes, something big will happen where you'll be like, oh, I got to watch the next one now. That's what it's feeling like. Do you
well,
agree?
I don't even feel that in Luke Cage. No plot machinations, no twist. Nothing keeps me entered. Like, it's really a show that I watch at this point that it's like, well, at least there's something on.
Yeah.
It's because the characters on the show are just so thinly drawn.
Yeah.
And like they have a facade of, it's like someone imitating complex characters.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like fake complexity. So you have I know, with Mariah?
Yeah.
So her character, she's one of the central antagonists of the show.
But they're weirdly giving her the role of a kind of protagonist this season as well.
It feels like they just don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And
it feels like dilly-dallying.
Yeah, and it's just, she's essentially a badass bitch times 1,000.
Yeah.
And every episode is just her screaming.
Yeah, or being sassy to somebody. Yeah.
No one really learns anything. Obviously, Luke Cage is really the only character that learns anything throughout the season.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at least you gotta have that. But, like, it's boring. That's its biggest flaw. There's nothing that angers me.
Yeah.
It's just boring and poorly executed, which is very disappointing because when they announced season 1 of the show, I was really excited.
Yeah, me too.
And season 1 was the same. It's just that they doubled down on that in this season. It's just that complete lack of focus on character development, and just layers within a character. And there's one key scene in this season that made me realize, oh, the dialogue written for these characters are not faithful to whatever background they have set up for these characters. Because there's one scene where Shades, one of the other bad guys
Yeah.
who is in cahoots / in a relationship, something like that, with Mariah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the scene is Mariah is trying to get back on good terms with her daughter. So she invites her back to her house and doesn't want to talk about the criminal side of her career in her house. But then Shades, her side piece, and right-hand man comes in to talk to her about the criminal side of things.
You need to stop showing up like this without calling.
Since when?
Since I am trying to keep my daughter out of the family business.
I thought I was family.
Okay, number one, it's a cliche line. Like, someone forgot to add details to this. Someone forgot to erase this when they wrote over the template of the dialogue.
Yeah.
And also, the worst part was the dialogue doesn't make sense in the context of the scene itself. It contradicts where the characters are in terms of their relationships to each other.
I mean, when you're watching something, why are they saying that?
Yeah.
Like, in a way where you're questioning the actual construction of the scene. I think it just sort of shows how little else is going on with this show, because there's not much to preoccupy you. It has like a seriously sort of unnecessarily heavy, unearned heft to it.
Yeah.
But it's like fake heft, like you said.
Yeah.
It's like a counterfeit prestige show.
Definitely. And they touch on the theme of obviously racism
and like legacy and
domestic
all this
violence or toxic masculinity.
Yeah, male
all
anger.
Like lip service. It's all lip service.
The one time I was kind of interested in that is when Luke and Claire have this massive fight before Claire just leaves the show completely.
What I think great move.
They have I mean good God, she needs to get out.
I mean,
they haven't found anything good for her to do since like Daredevil.
Claire, who's the nurse in this universe, played by Rosario Dawson, is my favorite character on these shows.
Yeah.
And they have found a way to make her not interesting.
Yeah.
She's not in the whole season, and I thank them for not putting her in every episode because it's just going to damage her character more.
Yeah, I doubt she'll even like return to any of these shows. I mean,
really?
I mean, I doubt it. I don't think she'll be appearing in any of these anymore.
She's actually announced to be in a new USA Network show.
Treadstone?
I think it's like Briar Batch or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's a crime show.
Yeah.
Written, I think, produced by Sam Esmail, who created Mr. Robot.
Interesting.
And written by
same
TV
network
critic Andy Greenwald.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I guess she'll be busy with that then.
Yeah, well, I think she's the lead, so we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, I think she'll still have time to do a guest appearance here and there, but we'll see.
But yeah, Luke Cage season 2, thumbs down. I don't even know if I'll finish, and I have 2 episodes left, and I'm still like, I don't even know if I'll finish this.
I mean, I'll finish it just because I'm just this close. I want to see how it ends, just to get it over with.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
yeah, I don't know. It's what do you guys think? If you think we're wrong and you loved Luke Cage season 2, please explain to me what part of it was good.
I really want to know, because I know there are some people who like think this season is great, and I would like it.
Email us at spoilernationpodcast@gmail.com.
500 words or less. Anyway, Orange is the New Black is back.
You don't know how strong my girls are. We have iron wills and fucking nothing to lose.
Yes.
And I still haven't seen past the first episode.
Oh, interesting. So
am I burnt out on this show? I don't know. I've liked this show.
I have that same feeling when the trailer for this season came out. I was like, Orange is the New Black feels like a show that has run its course.
Yeah.
But I've seen it. I've seen
this new season,
and it's the best thing about Orange is the New Black is that it's when you dive deep into it, the characters are very engaging.
Yes.
So like the interplay between the characters are fun. The actors are really bringing their A game. There's just they create this atmosphere where no other show can kind of match in terms of how they structure their ensemble cast around each other.
Yeah.
It feels every time you see it, you get absorbed into that atmosphere of the prison.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
So it's good. It's typical Orange is the New Black season. It's nothing transcendent. Obviously in this season they moved to maximum security prison, so some of the cast has been cut down to kind of the core cast, really.
Yeah.
Obviously you have Piper, you have Gloria, you have Tasty, who is a huge, I suppose, as with past seasons, she's a center point focal character.
Yeah.
And they do really heartbreaking emotional stuff. And
she's
the actress
great.
I forgot her name, the actress for
Danielle
Tasty.
something, I think.
Yeah, Danielle does really great work.
Yeah.
And Piper, once again, works well as that kind of white privilege.
Aloof.
Yeah, aloof character. I know a lot of people hate her character and kind of hate that relationship between her and Alex, played by Laura Prepon, who directed some episodes.
Yeah, I think
season.
No, she's directed some episodes from a couple seasons ago.
I see.
Yeah, she has experience with this.
It's interesting to see that privilege play out this system. It makes for good TV, in my opinion.
I actually do like their relationship as well.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of like, it's lived in, and like you've seen their ups and downs together, because everyone's sort of in their own world in Orange is the New Black as well. Like, there could be a really life and death storyline going on, and then you've got like some side characters who are just fucking about trying to waste time because prison is very boring.
Yeah,
which is one of the things I do like about the show. I am going to get back into it because I've been invested up until this point.
Yeah,
like there was never a season where I'm like, fuck this, really. And the way it ended last year, I was like, I need to see what happens next. And for some reason, like after I watched the first episode, I was like, it's not bad, but God, like, I don't know what it is. I wish I knew what was. I think it's just because there's so much TV now that this is like getting a little bit played out for me.
Yeah.
And, maybe next year would be a natural point to end it. At least Piper's story in prison. How long has she been in prison?
Well, no comment. No comment. So you just have to watch how the season ends.
Now I got to definitely watch it. Well, the way you're saying that.
Yeah. So it's good, and they do something interesting narrative wise with the structure of the season. Is that the main driving like prison centric conflict is they set up these two villains that are kind of mythical characters in the sense that they're like rivaling enemy sisters, and their rivalry forms the basis for it's almost like of biblical proportions in terms of how they're revered in the prison and how their personal conflict basically translate into a prison-wide conflict between what they call C block versus D block. So it's interesting. It's an interesting storytelling technique that they've included. It's not perfect, but it's they're trying something new.
That actually has got me kind of interested, like more, because that sounds kind of Shakespearean.
It is a little bit. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
But in the spirit of that.
In the spirit of, for sure.
I do like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
cool.
And I think it's a well-structured season.
You finished it, right?
I have finished it. It ends in a poignant note.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay. If you like Orange is the New Black, keep watching it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I mean, I'm not gonna leave it at this point. It's just been hard to get back into.
Yeah.
But there's been a perfect season of television this year, Howie.
Yes, from the same creator. Genji Cohen is the creator of Orange is the New Black, and she also created Glow.
We're gonna be canceled. I can't believe this.
I think this might have something to do with me.
That is how this business works. It shouldn't be that way.
They gave a men's wrestling show our slot.
So you just let them do whatever they want?
Fuck no. Fuck no. What are we gonna do about it?
Oh, goodness, because I mean, maybe she's diverting more of her energies to this show.
Yeah.
Because Glow season 2, not since I binge watched all of what's that Aziz Ansari show?
Master of None.
Master of None season 2 and 3 was this is a perfect season of television, just a really well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
I'm completely emotionally invested in all of these characters, and it's kind of surprising because Glow season 1, I liked it.
It was okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say I even really liked any of these characters.
Yeah.
That was one of my problems with the show. I was like, they're kind of all pricks I don't like very much. But this season, I kind of fell in love with all of them.
It's pitch perfect. This season, from the beginning till the very end,
yes,
every character beat, every plot progression, every conflict is so rich with drama, and every humor is so sharp and on point.
Yeah.
And every performance is so well done that it's just like the perfect mix of drama, tight plotting, performances, and good writing. It's
Mark Maron this season
brings his A game.
Blow me away.
I'm shocked.
I mean, I've got
I've got
a favorite moment, and this is how it's like a perfect TV show, because like one of my favorite moments isn't even like important to anything.
Yeah.
But it's when he's like introducing his movie to hit the crowd who were there to watch like his first film, and he's sort of like bashful about it. And what's Annie from Community? What's her name in this show?
Alison Brie. Oh.
Alison Brie is like, go on, like introduce your movie, and he sort of says, so this movie, this thing and this thing happened, and then he ends it off with, I don't fucking remember. And then he sits down and the movie plays, and I'm like, that's a perfectly crafted character beat. And he played it 100%. I loved it.
Yeah, I have to say, Glow is the mirror opposite of Luke Cage, because you have like one of the highest moment of tension in this season. It's just about someone's a certain body part, I guess.
Yes.
On a grander scale of things, isn't a life or death.
No.
But it has such high character stakes that you're on the edge of your seat when that kind of tension hits its crescendo.
Yeah.
Whereas on the flip side of that, with Luke Cage, I had to watch Luke Cage after the finale of Glow, and you're like, it's life or death. People are getting killed and things, and you don't bat an eye.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it literally means nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about how you tell the story.
Yeah, and Glow is a really great example of paying close attention to character and just like that sensitivity to their growth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the key to this season as well, is that it never feels like it's playing it safe. Like, it's not like a TV show where it's like trying to find its groove.
Yeah.
And then it gets in its groove and it sort of stays there. Everything's evolving.
Yes.
Almost every episode.
It constantly challenges the characters.
Yeah.
It doesn't go into a lull.
Yeah, it's the definition of just like great storytelling where like the conflict is thrown like a motherfucker, like at every one of them. Like even stupid things, you get really invested in how they're going to deal with that. The only thing I wasn't so hot on was the actual Glow episode. Do you know where they do like an actual like 80s?
They play a whole episode of the actual Glow TV show.
Yeah, it comes off a really intense, dramatically intense episode.
Yeah.
And it's just before the finale, and I was kind of thinking I'd watch this as like a YouTube bonus feature for like as a marketing piece, but in the context of the show, it felt very, because the season's so tightly constructed, like this felt sort of like a unwelcome diversion. What did you think of it?
I can see your point.
Yeah.
And it definitely deflates the tension and drama that's built up in the previous episode.
Yeah.
But I think this is it's a great filler episode, and it's the perfect use of the Netflix binge watch structure. I don't know, I kind of like that it toys with our expectations.
Yeah.
And knowing full well that, like, if this were an episode where I watch week by week and that episode came out after that, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, you're
but
right.
because this is a binge watch structure where you're like, oh, next.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect episode because it gives us a cool like break from the emotional heft of the episode before, and then also fills in the universe even more so that when we come back to it, we come back with that extra bit of background, that extra bit of knowledge of how the universe of the show works.
Yeah, it is. I think the placement of it is actually, now that you've said it, it's not too bad, because one of the nice things about that episode is when you're watching it, you're like, you know these characters so well that to see them in these like goofy, made for TV on the cheap situations is kind of more hilarious than it should be. Like if this was an episode that was in like the first season, like in the middle of the first season, like, hey, the first broadcast of Glow, you'd be like, who gives a fuck? Like, who cares? But because you know the characters so well at this point that when you see them doing these ridiculous things, it makes it like kind of funnier.
Yeah.
I still wasn't a massive fan of it, but I could see like the merit of it, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's really like my only complaint with this season. You should watch Glow, guys.
Yeah. Another good ensemble cast as well.
Yes.
Please watch it.
I want to see season 3 like
if you like
yesterday.
good TV and good character work, you're going to enjoy Glow.
Yeah.
Especially season 2.
Yep.
I think that's what we have to talk about today. We'll end on a bit of housekeeping. I don't know if you have noticed, but at the end of every episode, there's a track that goes along with the end of each episode. And what I've been trying to do is, we are based in Perth, so we've been trying to showcase musicians and artists and bands from Perth, and the songs and their names are in the description of every episode, so if you like them, check them out.
Give those guys a thumbs up.
I guess thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, through our little vacation. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's good to be back. It's good to have these upgrades.
Yeah, and we'll be back soon with something. It won't be as long of a...
I think we have something in the works which is related to the Oscar announcement.
Oh,
which the Oscars are proposing to add a new category, which is Best Popular Film.
That deserves its own little podcast.
Yeah, we're going to do an episode on that, and also talk about what's our best popular film of the year so far.
Yeah, that's a good way to go about it. What do we put in that category?
Yeah. And if you like what you've been listening, please tell your friends about our little old podcast.
Tell your relatives too.
Yeah, family, friends, children.
Smart dogs.
And also, please subscribe to Spoiler Nation on iTunes. Give us 5 stars while you're at it.
Yeah, 6 if you can spare it.
If 6 is possible, definitely go 6.
Yeah.
And we also have a Facebook group. I think, is it just called Spoiler Nation?
Yeah.
Yeah, look us up and...
come chat with us about film and stuff like that. We're always talking about the newest thing or any random opinion.
As always, email us at spoilernationpodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts, whether you agreed with us or disagree. Maybe you loved Luke Cage season 2.
Yeah, please tell us why. Because we want to love things.
Yeah. Okay, so until next time.
Bye.
I don't listen to the devil no more. You could still tell me if you really needed to. I know that you wanted to, but you too scared that we stand in the rain. Who knew that you could do such a thing and say such a thing to my face? I was displaced for another day, down to pay, but I know you erased all the bad things from your mind. You were still trying to survive, and I can't blame you. You were going through shit I never understand, and I can't blame you. And I can't blame you. Staying when everybody's going out all the time. Go now. You waiting for something that you never gonna see now. I'm waiting for something that I never gonna feel now. Staying when everybody's going out.